Welcome, friends. Good evening. With us, we have Narayan Ned, who will be. We were planning to have a session in astrology at least once in a fortnight. So Narayan Ned will be featured in these sessions. Welcome, Ned.
Good evening to all the Candid Meena viewers. Namaskar.
Yeah. So professionally, his background is in engineering and marketing, but he has a deep interest in astrology. In this introductory session, let us hear from him what he has to say about astrology. So let's start from the beginning and how he developed this interest in astrology. So how did you pick up interest in astrology at such a early age, and why?
See, in my house, my father was very good in astrology, and also his father, of course, whom I have not seen because he died when my father was about 13 years of old, and he was from the Zamarin family of Calicut. So they had very profound knowledge in astrology. And from my mother's side, my mother's father was also quite good in astrology. In fact, he has, as a hobby, he has seen the horoscope of Hyderabad Nizam. He was an industrialist in Calicut. So in the house, there is always talk about astrology. And see, all the leading astrologers those days, when they visit Calicut, they visit our house, and there will be always a session. We used to show our horoscope, and there was always a session in astrology. So I was exposed to this at a very early age, and I've been listening to this, and I used to hear this interaction. And even without learning any astrology, I started picking up a lot of these things in astrology, like the different yogas, Raja yogas, everything. But I started learning it after my engineering. See,
So
I
here, let
see
me
this.
just let me just
Yeah,
interrupt you. Yeah.
yeah,
So before you move on to the next step, what I wanted to
yeah.
ask you, how did you get interested? Was it because in Hindu in our Sanatana Dharma, mixing and matching of horoscopes is very important for a marriage to happen. And did this trigger an interest in you? Because in Kerala, horoscope matching was, I think, one of the most important things at that time.
It is not only in the case of marriage, we used to match the horoscope. Whenever we try to do anything important, or we always used to consult uh, an astrologer and generally find out how the time is in those days. I'm saying, but that doesn't mean that we refrain from doing anything, saying that according to our horoscope, this is not a good period, and so we cannot do anything, because we always used to believe in karma and the fate. Okay. And if you are asking me about my interest, you can say that it is because of the exposure to this environment, number one. But that doesn't mean that you have to take interest in astrology, because my brother was there, my sister was there. But you can say probably to some extent, genetically, probably my parents would have transmitted this to my gene. So that is why. So
So why I
that's
ask
how
you this question? Yeah. Why
yeah,
I'm asking you this question is because I'm very curious now. See, this being a candid channel, I need to ask some
yeah,
candid questions as well. So,
yeah.
when you were planning to get married, so you were looking at a lot of horoscopes of the, the would-be brides, and apparently you rejected quite a few, and finally decided on one. So, and that too after close scrutiny of the horoscope. So, tell us a little bit about that.
See, it was like this. See, I landed up in a job. You see, it was an American company, and I was posted in Calcutta. Okay, and the company didn't have a full-fledged office there, and so it was an office come residence. So I used to have a very beautiful office or the residence in a very very posh locality, and I had a car, those days, which normally
So, which means you
you
were a
have
well
to work.
settled bachelor.
Yeah, at a very early age. I'm talking of,
Yeah.
see, within one and a half, within 2 years of my, entering a job. Normally in those days, see, it takes about, and a telephone you have to wait for, see, 4 5 years if you have to apply on a normal quota, but you have to pay 5,000 rupees for a telephone. So I was entitled for a telephone. So I had everything. Those days, a senior manager used to get in a multinational company. That's those days. So naturally, see, a lot of marriage proposal used to come, and mentally, I was not prepared to get married. So in most of the cases, I was very polite in nature. So rather than saying no. So I always find fault in saying that, the horoscope doesn't match, and see, that's how, see, I used to. But
So, you
I
did lie a
got to
bit.
see. See, it's a white lie, you can say. So,
So,
but
finally,
in many of the, but
so
in many of the cases, in many of the cases, see, actually the horoscope didn't match, because I have something called a Shuddha Jadagam. It is very difficult to get a Shuddha Jadagam. That means, see, there are no bad, planet aspecting the seventh house. So that's very difficult to get those days. And okay,
yeah. So, finally, when
and
you
I
decided
was
on a
not I was not
horoscope,
prepared.
what was it
Yeah.
that sort of, made you feel okay? Let me go ahead.
No, okay. See, I see. It is almost, see. I had everything, but I delayed my marriage till the age of 33. Okay, so it was at that stage I thought that, see, okay, now this is something which I have to take a decision, and I decided, mentally, I was decided to get married, and it was at that time probably, see, my father's friend, Mr. MK. I got a letter from my father's friend, Mr. MKK, and you happen to be your uncle, and see, so. And see, I tell you, see, it is not 100% match. Okay, see, normally if you give it to an astrologer, see, he's not going to match it. Okay, then I found out that, see, we are destined to get married. So that is something which, okay, kept my mind open to the proposal, and what
Which
I
also
thought
shows
was, yeah,
that
I just.
human beings are not perfect.
Yes, exactly, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
So Maya
Yeah.
gives a very
Oh,
good important point. Maya says
yeah,
Jyotish Shastra is indeed
yeah,
scientific, pure maths come
yeah,
cosmology. Meenaji, you're really
yeah,
blessed to have an in-house astrologer who does not shy from your pointed questions.
yeah.
So, yeah, and Meera says, I believe in astrology per se, but for marriage matching somehow, I don't believe such talking from personal experience. So, people have both sides of, both points of view when it comes to astrology. And Anuradha says, astrology is a fascinating science. It's fascinating the charlatans who misuse it for greed have given it a bad name and need to be exposed. Pure astrology needs to be revived Fabulous to see Ned bringing this to the world. So, moving on to the next stage, did you learn under anyone?
See, okay, all right. See, there were a lot of books lying around in my house. Then, of course, all the discussion I used to hear all the discussion that was going on. But see, as far as the Ganita or the calculation part, you need some teacher, because that is something you cannot learn by yourself, looking at a book. So I had one of my distant relative. His name was Ramakrishna Menon. So I went and had took class from him for almost 10 classes I took from him, and that's how I learned. I did this after my engineering. So that's why, see, I those days, I mean, not those days, I used to calculate. Now, see, it is very easy, because say you have the computer horoscope. So what you need is only the date of time and time of birth, and you straight away get. Otherwise, if you have to calculate, it takes about, see, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
See.
So, in this sense, I mean, did it ever, see, did you ever falter in the sense that, see, when you know somebody's character very well by reading his horoscope or her horoscope, some things about it, his hidden things about him or her, maybe, you could see it. And would you avoid such people when you know that, see, there's something about them that I don't like, or, I don't think this person is my cup of tea?
No, definitely not. Because you have to have a professional approach in such things.
No, I meant with
Uh,
your friends, not your
no,
business.
no, not at all. In fact, see, what I did was, see, after, see, bookish knowledge is something, but the practical knowledge counts much more. I would see, after my engineering. See, I went to Calcutta. Probably I would have seen about, see, 500 horoscopes, and not only see. See, I used to discuss with them. I know their background. I know what they are undergoing, their difficult period, their good period, and all those things I used to record. I used to note it down, and then I used to relate it with the horoscopes. So that became a solid knowledge for me. And so, see, bookish knowledge is something. See, that is the general this thing. See, like you study, you pass out from the college, but what you do is absolutely different.
Yeah. So
And
let me tell you something very interesting here. From my own
yeah,
experience, is that, see,
yeah.
whenever we had these family gatherings, when we
Hmm.
were sitting with cousins or with, and Ned's cousins and all. So, I got married rather young, and sometimes I would not understand what they were talking about. So each one is talking about some house, this house, the Rahu house, and Ketu house, and all that. And I used to wonder, what are they talking about so much? It's as though, they are living it. So then I realized that, see, each aunt and the mother and the sister, everybody knows astrology very well. So everybody is discussing somebody's horoscope, and how come they made these mistakes. Well, it's all dependent on the planets. So these were some things. So I used to always tease him that when we got married, what were the things that you saw in my horoscope that frightened you or even attracted you. So these were things, interesting anecdotes that happened during our marriage time. But see, there are other things also, Ned, which you can explain. That, see, there are certain people who will never marry in life, and you've always said that this is reflected in their in their horoscopes. So could you speak a little bit about that? But before we say that, Raggy has a question for you. Is it true that sun sign is your outward personality and moon sign is your inward personality?
You can say yes, but sun is always related to vitality, then your father, and moon is always related to your mind, and also your mother, astrology wise.
Yeah.
But these are the
So
two planets. These are the two planets. Sun is actually not a planet, but in astrology we call it planets. These are the two planets which has got the maximum influence on us. Okay, And sun, you know that, see, without sun, see, this earth won't exist. Okay. And as far as the moon is concerned, see, moon has got a lot of influence on us. For example, if the moon is facing the earth at that time, there is high tide. Okay. At that time, if you have a cut, or if you have a wound, the bleeding will be much more because of the attraction from the moon. Okay. Now coming to mental patients, okay, they behave funnily during the full moon time or during the new moon time. So that is a tangible effect of these two planets which we can experience. Now other planets are all intangible, so that's where the problem exists. Okay.
Yeah. So, to what extent does one believe in astrology, and where should one draw the line between science of astrology and superstition?
See, astrology has got two aspects. One is the calculation, the Ganita aspect, which is very scientific. It is a science by its own. Okay, and don't forget the fact that see, in history, see, we have been taught that, see, it is Galileo who first found out that the the Earth is round, and but see, 5,000, 6,000 years back, see, in Vedas, see, our planet is referred as Bhugola. Bhugola means it is round. Okay. And not only that, see how the planetary position, everything. See, it is all mentioned there. And see, in my house, in my early age, I have seen um, these astrologers, and they all knew, uh, the Sanskrit very well. And see, they just calculate the chart by just saying some Sanskrit sloga in which there is this calculation built in. Okay. Okay. So all right. So that is one aspect. So the calculation part is very scientific. Now
Yeah.
the planets has got what effect the planet has got in us. Okay. I already told you the sun and moon, two examples which is tangible. There are, see, the other planets have also got effects on us. These are intangible effects. So that's where the people who don't believe in these things will say that, see, these are all humbug, everything. Okay. But see, you know that, see, I am also a doubting Narayan. So see, I have seen a lot of horoscopes, and if you just give me a horoscope and without telling me anything about this person, I can find. I know that, see, how his life will be, whether you see, whether he has got a good horoscope, whether he has got a good standing in this world. That is something
Yeah.
which you can find out. The
So, do you
extract,
believe?
the exact, yeah.
Yeah.
Coming. One more thing,
Yeah.
Lajan.
Yeah.
So that is so the effect on of these planets on us is again a science which is there already in Hora Shastra and all, it is mentioned. Now the prediction becomes very difficult because of the permutation combination of the planets, the combination of planets. Then it is again in which house it is located. So that's where you tend to go wrong. That's why I see, until and unless you see a lot of horoscope and have practical knowledge, it will be very difficult. That is.
Yeah.
Then there is a third aspect also, which is intuitive. So you should have some sort of an intuition also. So for which actually you have to lead a very
Meditate.
good life. You have to lead a very good life, and if you are a professional astrologer, you should be getting up at 4:30 in the morning. Do at least meditate for about, see, half an hour to 1 hour, and do some pujas. Without
Yeah.
this, you cannot just be a good this thing. Don't drink. See,
So,
so these
Nina
are
wants to
things.
ask you, sir, if
Yeah.
somebody's time is not good, are they given any
Hmm.
warning? I'm asking just for curiosity.
Yes, very much, Nina. See, uh, you can always make out that, this is not going to be a good period for you. See, and that is why, the astrology, you don't have to take it all that seriously, but you can always use it as a navigation map in your life. Okay, all right, you will be just traveling through an expressway, enjoying the music, everything. But from 5 kilometers from your distance, you will find a orange line, which means that there is a traffic congestion there, so you have to slow down. Okay, and probably 5 meters from there, there you will find out a red line, which means the traffic has come to a stop. So you should use this as only as a guideline in your life.
So Maya says, in astrology, is there something called hora, when the time plays
Yeah.
important role? When you study the
Yeah.
horoscope or the time, the person comes to show you the horoscope.
Yeah. Okay, all right. See, hora means, the hour, the time. See, you are all, the moment, you you are in this field. In the field of, Earth, or whatever it is. Or see, you are subjected to time factor. So that's why, you have a beginning and you have an end. So see, you are in a time factor. All right. So time of birth is very important. Okay, all right. And what you said, that the person who comes to see you at that time, so there is another science, which is called the prashna science. Okay, so prashna is an entirely different science. That is, the time, as you rightly said. The person who came to see you at that time, see where are the planets located, and not only at that time, you see different sorts of signs, like, suppose, if you see the Nagasara sound. Okay, and if the person has come to, for in connection with marriage, this thing, you can always say that, okay, this is going to happen. See, that kind of prediction is possible.
Yeah, friends, we've just lost connection.
Did
He'll join us.
I?
Join
Yeah.
us now.
Yeah,
So
I'm
meanwhile,
there.
so let's just get back to what we were discussing.
Yeah.
So True Indian says, I tell you, miracles can happen. When my uncle had issues in his marriage, my granny prayed with penance and changed his astro chart to match his wife in the feet of God, and later on he had a smooth life.
Yes. There is something called
So I'll just wait for Ned to rejoin again. So meanwhile, let's just take a few more comments and see, because I'm not the astrologer, so we'll just need to wait. Meera Kumaran says, do you think Sati Shani period is bad for all, or depends on which house Shani is placed in one's individual chart? So we'll just wait for Ned to come back. True Indian, sir, you have a demand as slowly. This discipline is ignored by most. Now, here, one thing, True Indian, yeah, just one second, sir. One second. Sorry, I muted myself. So, what I meant was that, see, yeah, Ned, an important question that Meera has. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Ned? So,
Can
yeah, going back to what True Indian said about
I
astrology, is that
can you see me?
you know,
Can you see me now?
so So yeah, sorry friends, there was a small technical difficulty. We'll be moving on to the next news hour. So you'll have to excuse me for this one. But next Saturday, Ned will be back. And if you have any questions, you can email to us and ask him questions, or you want any sort of consultation, please do go ahead and send your queries to Candid Meena, which is the at the scroll below. Yeah, so I hope you can hear me now, Savitri. Thank you so much, Radhika. In Chani period is the best god is Hanuman, as he is known to help devotees at this time, sir. Or do you suggest? So these are some questions that we can answer in the next session on Saturday. Also, there's some very good news that Dr. Ganesh will be joining us on Thursday. He was, meditating in a hermitage, and he's back in action now. So on Thursday at 8 p.m., he will be joining us. So till that time, I'll see you in the next part of the show with Shreyasta. We will be talking about AI effects, on Bollywood and the industry as such. Nina says, I really forward to this program as I'm interested. Thank you so much. Yes. So please join me at in the other show at 8 o'clock. Thank you, friends, and see you there.